Today on episode number 64, get ready. We've got Wade Brown, who's the VP of Marketing at cbdMD, and we'll talk about AppLovin, the why, the do's, and the don'ts. It's going to be a very fun episode. And well, I'm your host, Raphael Paulin-Daigle, and I'm the founder of SplitBase. And this is Minds of Ecommerce. Now, this episode is also brought to you by SplitBase. At SplitBase, we help leading 8- and 9-figure brands such as Dr Squatch, Hyperice, Amica grow through customer-focused conversion optimization programs. We figure out why your website isn't converting, and then, well, we help you fix it. You get increased conversions, higher AOV, and of course, more money, which allows you to scale advertising profitably. We've been at it for over a decade now, and we can help you take care of the entire process from A to Z. So if you want to learn more, go to splitbase.com today to request your free proposal. All right, Wade, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, AppLovin. I'm so glad we're chatting about this today because it is not a topic we've talked about a ton on this podcast. And I know that it's been pretty significant for you guys. So let's just dive right in. As you know, this podcast is all about, cutting straight to the meat, the actionable parts of it. So maybe for some context, why AppLovin?
I feel like it's one of the most solid top of the funnel acquisition channels now. I've just had a great amount of success. It's trackable, it's traceable, and it's, from a lot of measurable standpoints, it's outperforming Meta and TikTok and some other channels that we've used traditionally.
Amazing. I'm kind of curious, right? Because I think like so many people have heard of AppLovin, but there's also a bit of a mystery around it where you hear of so many people having successes, yet the familiar is Google, it's Facebook, to some extent, even TikTok, right? I'd love to know about like your path to using AppLovin. Like, is there anything specific that made you think at one point, hey, we got to branch out, we got to try AppLovin? How did you just approach that?
Yeah, great question. AppLovin is, I'm sure you're aware, and most people who listen to your podcast are in our space. It's new, it's emergent platform in the past couple of years, right? I think when you hear app marketing, you usually think apps selling to apps. And quite honestly, a lot of the app paid ad marketing places were just that, right? It's like, I have an app, I need to scale it. I go to an app store and do app marketing. AppLovin, without a doubt, you can still market apps, but what made it, I feel like such a great option is you can advertise consumer packaged goods and other products and services. So AppLovin opens up the gaming and, Candy Crush, all these apps essentially that people are playing on. And, unlike Meta and the quality of the traffic, if they're real users, AppLovin, somebody sitting and playing a game or an app is a human being. So the quality of that one-to-one interaction, and ultimately for us with cbdMD is we're a restricted category in brown. We have Delta 9 THC drinks. Under our umbrella, we have Herbal Oasis, which is an infused beverage line. AppLovin allows 21 plus. It allows advertising directly to our site. So quite often, given the restricted nature of our product, it seemed going to platforms like perhaps Twitter or AppLovin that allow adult products and can advertise to adults makes the most sense. And it prevents, as we all know, the decay of events and attribution with the customer. So that one-to-one connection from AppLovin to our actual primary website without that loss of attribution is been very, very helpful. So that's why I love AppLovin. It lets us advertise adult products, typical restricted categories.
Yeah.
As we know, Meta is somewhere in the middle. And then TikTok's very, very protective. So if you're talking like for me, who's done business, firearms, tactical stuff, being in restricted categories, you kind of have to get more creative on where you're advertising. And AppLovin allows that. And it's like a solid platform on top of it. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I'm also curious, right? Like we think of the context in which users are clicking on those ads, right? It's always a bit different from platform to platform. Meta people are in a content consumption. Instagram audience is maybe a bit more distracted, but similarly, I think it's starting to be a bit more like just Facebook in general. With more content consumption type of thing. TikTok is a heavily distracted audience that wants instant gratification, low attention span, things need to go a little faster. Ultimately, where does AppLovin fall into, considering people are playing games? Does your landing page, how you're talking to that traffic, does it need to differ that much from maybe what you're doing on other platforms, or is it still pretty similar?
Another great question. So far for us, I've used it top of the funnel primarily, given
Yeah.
the CPMs are more expensive. And if I'm gonna hammer remarketing, there's options like Criteo and things that can really follow around that user once they've been identified for a much more cost-effective fashion and get all of those, multiple interactions and cementing it into the synapses, right?
Right.
So AppLovin, as far as the creative and how I've utilized that, it has the traditional, so it's like Meta. It's more it has been around a decade. The platform is not that robust. So you can
Yeah.
recycle, you can take videos, image ads. Same thing as Meta. What we're seeing the best success with is the UGC top of the funnel stuff. The people are actively engaged in the game, and then it forces them to watch the entirety of the video. So it's not as though it's skippable. It's so that I feel like is you have somebody who has to watch a video to go to the next level. And then, so hopefully that audience is more willing, engaged than they would be if they just scroll past and it's an impression and you don't really know how much,
Right.
I guess you can do operate to see what the view rates. But anyway, so what we've used is scroll stopping top of the funnel UGC, primarily to try to get them back to our site. So we've tested a variety of offers. So the typical D2C offer testing and UGC content creator, all of that in my mind is from a marketing brand standpoint, easily recycled into AppLovin. So I think from an internal operation standpoint, it's a light lift. You can take what you're already using in Meta and TikTok and throw it into AppLovin. In addition, and this is where I feel like the opportunity also lies, is they have HTML files so that you can do more than you can in the other platforms because of the game nature. So yeah, AppLovin allows you to push the
Can
envelope.
you elaborate on that? I think
Well,
that was like an interesting tidbit.
yeah. So instead of just a regular image ad, you can create an HTML ad, which then allows HTML website functionality. So that's I think one of those. It's a heavier lift, but if concept's proven, like put in your UGC, your videos, you're like, okay, this is solid, I'm getting traffic, it's working. It can then justify like, hey, I want to have more dynamic buttons or whatever envelopes you can push in that regard. So that's another ad creative format type in addition to the videos and the image ads that we're seeing the HTML files in format doing well. So, but it's new and it's novel. To your point, it's something that when you mean, what do you mean HTML ads? So you're creating an HTML base, like a little website, put it as a file, and then you can do all the stuff you can do on a website essentially. So then that functionality, changes. So it's just like most things. I would explore the ad creative types and the testing and seeing how you can push the envelope. And I think that's where, going back to your original question about the customer journey, and if they're in a game and if I can gamify an ad, all of a sudden I have a much more cohesive and engaging customer experience for our brand versus just a UGC video. So yeah, you picked up on the nugget there, right? So the HTML file functionality is definitely a hidden gem that I think, hopefully is worth mentioning to your listeners.
I think it opens for sure a lot more creativity. I know there's some other platforms as well that allows that. I know there's AdRoll that allows a little bit of that as well. And But it's ultimately like the tech part of it, right? Like an HTML file is not usually a skill set that's part of a creative team. Um, how how have you guys integrated when creatives are usually all, videos or images? Have you found a creative team that allows you to do that? Have you had to loop in developers? Well, how does the process differ?
For luckily at cbdMD, we have a CTO and developers on staff, so we're able to, yeah, that was not a heavy lift, and where I was able to rely on internal resources. But you hit on something that would probably be a larger
Yeah.
constraint. The brand's doing a couple million, and don't have any real developer on staff or anybody who can code out what you want to see. So there is that caveat that somebody even needs to know HTML and what I'm talking about to create it. But the juice could be worth the squeeze, in my opinion, especially if you're saying, hey, I can put up my UGC videos and for my images ads. I'm able to drive verifiable new customers that I can then remarket to on Meta more effectively,
Yeah.
and then Keo and to push them down the funnel more cost effectively. Versus I feel like Meta's just, I don't. Anyway, so that's
Yeah.
kind of where, yeah. Then hopefully the developer cost can be justified for a smaller brand, right? It's like I don't want to pay all this and build it out. You don't need to build it out the jump. But to your point, yeah, it's like video editing. It's like UGC creation. There's
Yeah.
these hidden costs where you're like, oh man,
Have you seen better performance with HTML ads versus image or video, or do you kind of see them all on the same level and then it just whatever best creative, no matter the format, just that's the one that wins. So you got to test all of them at the same level.
Yeah, good question. And so far the HTML ads are winning, but
Hmm.
I don't semantics, because you never know what's behind the algorithm and then the prioritization in the ad
Yeah.
inventory. So my thought is I assume, so from a larger context, it's really like you have image, video, and then HTML files. And then the same thing you see work on Meta, right? Quality creatives, quality creative video, great hooks. I'm willing to bet it'll probably work over there, right? Um, the change with HTML files, and this is where I don't know because I don't work at AppLovin, is my bidding on a smaller amount of real estate. So my dollars go further because people don't upload HTML. So I don't know if it's I'm
Interesting.
just a bigger fish in a smaller pond, and there's that moat before it'll get saturated. But HTML files are performing the strongest for us. I don't, and it's not like we're doing anything beyond. It's just, yeah. So that I don't know why, because there isn't another parallel to
Yeah.
test on. And I know like ad roll and these other things. It's just I go back to the quality of traffic. It's
Right.
just these are all people on AppLovin. They're playing
Yeah.
games. There's no bots. It's you're paying to be in front of actual people. So there's
Totally.
such high quality traffic to be in front of as a brand.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, right? I think like so many brands are just used to testing the same proven channels. Jumping to a new channel can be a bit scary. And I know every brand will have a different experience. Every product will have a different experience. But like, did it take a long time before like you actually started seeing results with AppLovin? Like, how much patience did you need? Did you ever felt like throwing the towel at one point?
You ask good questions, sir. So no, attribution, super fun question. And if you're not doing post purchase survey and slicing it through like last click or triple whale and GA and looking through a bunch of different windows, do that first. Anyway, before you start mixing channels and trying to build out a funnel, as I'm talking about here. But nevertheless, back to how quickly it was verifiable. Oh, instantaneous. It doesn't take, dude, I should be getting commission from AppLovin for this podcast, but
You
it
should.
doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine, bro. Like it's a quality ad platform. It works. Yeah, it's, so that's for me, it was within week one, week two, and our budgets drastically shifted. I mean, yeah, so it's a core part of the media mix.
Yeah.
But as you know, that's why people hear AppLovin, and it's gaining prominence is because it's legitimate traffic on games and ads, and it's not as saturated as Meta. So I think you can still get a lot of value from it right now.
Amazing. Yeah, I think listeners need to remember that at the end of the day, if you're trying something new, right, like you could get very lucky, hit a home run from the start. but you also need to test a lot of things. You can't just say, oh, AppLovin doesn't work for me because maybe the couple of creatives you tested aren't the right ones, or the audience targeting hasn't been figured out, right? Like there are so many factors. There still needs some time. And I've heard, I talk to so many brands every single day. And it's not like everybody's been saying, no, it's not working, or everybody's saying it's working, right? It's a mix of everything. So you just got to try, see for yourself, have some patience, and yeah.
Yeah, and but to your point, they had already established cbdMD has been around a decade now. It's publicly traded, right? It's not like so coming in, they had their offers, their funnels, but I had been working on that for months to change up the pricing, the offers, so the UGC creative, hammering that. So we spent a lot of money, to your point, working on Meta and having what
Right.
worked on Meta and cherry picking the top creative, the top performance, the best offers, and then migrating that over to AppLovin. So I would be remiss, and you are 100% correct, that it's not like this was just like we threw
Yeah.
stuff onto AppLovin. That had been battle tested by millions of dollars in spend on Meta and other channels. So it's not, nothing happens overnight.
Love it. We're pretty much at time, but I have one last question for you. And if there's a mistake that you see people make with AppLovin, what is it?
Oh, you probably alluded to it right there, man. I'd say being too dismissive of a channel, and writing off, and this could be Meta, TikTok, I think is another one where people measuring a channel inappropriately for where it should sit. Like for
Yeah.
me, I know been on some other things, and I years ago talked about, like, I'm a big fan of multi-metric funnels.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking for impressions, I measure for impressions and then clicks, and then I can build my funnel down from that. So I feel like, what is your goal on AppLovin or TikTok or Meta, and what audience is conversions? Hammer your remarketing, get them down there. But if you're looking for conversions on AppLovin, and you haven't tested your product, your offer, you're not going to hit them with a solid sales funnel and
Yeah.
remarketing. So that this is the value of it, right? So for me, I'm measuring it as my top of the funnel, first touch, bringing in clicks, impressions, that ratio. And then from there, the way it supercharges, like 10, 15 rows in the read, like it's just, I'm loving it. So, but this goes back to properly measuring the channel for
Yeah.
what it is and your objectives. And I think a lot of small businesses go to top of the funnel platforms or things that are great for that, and they measure for like a lot of the bottom of the funnel type of effects, when it's like, if you have a finite budget and all that, get good at the bottom of the funnel and build up from there. So yeah, I think knowing where you are in your business, your sales funnel development, your offer, your product, how sound that is before you're testing channels when
Yeah.
your core product offering isn't even going to win regardless of
Yeah.
where you sell it to. So anyway.
Very, very solid advice. We've been talking to Wade Brown of cbdMD. Wade, thank you so much for all this fantastic insight into AppLovin, into what works, what doesn't. Now, if people want to learn more about you, about the company, where should they go? Where should they connect?
Yeah, cbdMD.com. We sell CBD and cannabis products. We also have Herbal Oasis, which is our infused beverage line, and Total Wines, and dominating the East Coast. So we
Love it.
expect continual expansion. But yeah, check out our products, and hit me up on LinkedIn, Wade S. Brown. If you ever want a coupon code or try any of our stuffs or gummies to chill out, you know what I'm saying? Just let us know.
Awesome. Wade, thank you so much. All
Thank you for
right.
your time, sir.
That was great. What a solid episode. I'm so excited to get this one live. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, cool, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I'm gonna send that to the editor, and then I'm trying to visualize my schedule. I think within the next 2 weeks or so, it's gonna go live.
Cool, dude. Yeah, it's great to connect, man. And hopefully, we run into each other somewhere along the lines down the road. So
Totally.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
It's